Welcome to the Awaken the Awesome podcast with your host, Olivier D. This is Awaken the Awesome, a podcast where we take a moment to acknowledge that we are all in this together. Through enlightening conversations and personal insights, we like to connect with individuals just like you who show us how they are bringing a little bit of awesomeness in their individual journeys. Our hope is to encourage you to always keep pushing and to stay awesome along the way.
When you make no apologies for what you want and have the courage, determination, and skill to go after it consistently, then you just might understand the mindset that drives my next guest. I've had a couple of real estate professionals on this program, and that's not simply because their particular line of work is very much in line with the values of hard work, commitment, and resilience that we often talk about on the podcast. But as far as Jean-Philippe Loiselle is concerned, it's always a thrill to get to share a first-hand look into the habits and best practices of an individual recognized as an established champion among his peers. Having already won a number of prestigious awards over his decade-long career and still going strong, Jean-Philippe is quite simply a standout performer. Driven by excellence, with a keen sense for a job well done, and a no-excuses type of personality towards achieving his goals, JP is all about shooting for greatness with every decision and resulting action. On this episode, we discuss the importance of committing to your vision, putting in the work by paying your dues, staying true to your core values, as well as the importance of resting appropriately. It's all there. So let's get into this. Awaken the Awesome, episode 105, with Jean-Philippe Loiselle. Here we go. JP, thank you so much for being here on the Awaken the Awesome podcast. Right off the bat, I just want to say thank you. And first of all, a lot of appreciation because I've been following your content on Instagram and all over the place. And it's already something to follow someone, as they say, virtually. But when I got the chance to meet you in person at the Millionaire Mindset Montreal Mastermind, hosted by Christopher Didion, it was definitely a great opportunity to actually, first of all, get to meet you and to first experience something that you really push forward, which is your mindset, the mindset of a champion, the mindset of success. And it's really beautiful to see that, it's not just about what we see on social media, but the person is all about that. And I just wanted to throw it out there. Seriously, it's something you told the story before, but, has it always been about success for you? Has it always been about the mindset of a champion for you? Where do you think that comes from?
Well, it comes from far away. First of all, thank you very much for having me in this podcast. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. And I'll do my best. I'll do my best to share my story, share my knowledge. And I hope everybody can take a little dip inside my life a bit. So it started when I was young. I don't think it was going well, but going after failure after failure after failure, I didn't realize that something had to change. And I remind myself I was in my bedroom in the basement, and I started to write some stuff on papers, put it on my walls, and for me at that age was more, how can I defy pain? Because if I can beat some kind of pain I had in my head, in my mind, by beating it, I would be more happy. So at that time, it was all about beating that kind of a pain. And going further, I got introduced with my father to OG Mandino, with the bestseller in the world, which was a book, then a CD, then other stuff too. And I started to understand that the brain has a lot to do with people being successful. And I started to understand what was the pain in my head and what was it related to, because it was related to my expectation being not met, and the truth reality of going failure after failure, being a teenager.
That's important. What we experience as we're young, as we're kids, we can either use that to build towards a greater success, or actually be a victim of that? Because often that's something that happened. You even spoke about that in your panel, about the fact of what you tell yourself you will believe. You need to speak the right words into your own reality. Otherwise, you are going to define yourself as a failure. How did you overcome that?
Good question. For me, it was, I think, determination. Determination
Wow.
to say, you know what, it's not going to be like this. It's life, for me, has more to offer to me and to people around me than what I was experiencing at that time.
One thing that really touched me, again, at the mastermind, because for me, it was a really terrific experience. And again, thank you so much for all the great knowledge that you shared. For me, something as basic as being surrounded by the touching and warming people that are your family. I met your father, met your mom, met your sisters, and everybody who was there just came with full heart and honesty, saying, I'm here to support JP, and I'm here to help him out. I'm here to be here. And just how important is it to be surrounded by the right people? Because we say that a lot in terms of the people you surround yourself will determine your path towards success. And how would you say it's important for the people, listening, to surround yourself with the right people, whether through your family or otherwise?
I've been lucky to have a fantastic family with solid foundation, one to the other. We all together, I think, likes for example, me, I love my three sisters. I love them for what they're great at, and they're better than me at least few stuff, each of them. So I can learn from them, because we're all so different, but we come from the same place, which is a place of heart, a place of love, a place of determination, a place where we go to the next level, and we encourage each other to go to the next level just by being our best self every single day. And I think it starts from there.
You need to have the right people, because family is so important. And when I saw you with your family, it's just something I see. That is what you call a very solid foundation. I'm using your words, but that's what you call a solid foundation. To everybody's rounded up in the same mission and the same mindset. And just talking about taking a leap of faith, and because I can only understand. I don't know much about the real estate industry and everything, what it takes to be a broker and everything, but what was it like? What got you into it? What inspired you to actually, pursue that as a career?
Well, when I was in school, CEGEP, looking to decide what I'm going to do after that, am I going to the university? Am I doing something else? Am I going to work? I was in a situation where I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I think what I was experiencing at that time is, what do I really like? Or am I going for something I like? Am I going for something I'll get the money that I like? Because I think we're all attracted by different stuff. Beginning of the 20s, It was all about, what do I like and how much money can I get? Today, I would say, going back, I think the most important thing is, how can you match the two and build a life that you'll be more than happy to live? And I decided, because I was walking with my father, and my father said, well, JP, what are you going to do after? I said, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to be an accountant.
Oh, wow.
I'm so lucky I'm not an accountant today, because I don't have this personality. I have the drive, I have the energy, I have the mindset today to build something solid, to build foundation, to build the kind of business I want to build today. And maybe in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, I'll be somewhere else doing something different, but I'll still keep this foundation of a business thinker today.
Just hearing your words, just saying, I don't know. What are you going to do? I don't know. There's a lot of people, whether young students, young, just as you were, or even seasoned professionals right now, 40s and 50s, are still looking down the pipeline and telling themselves, what am I doing? How can we help them change that dialogue? How can we help them ask themselves the right question? How do we guide them, JP?
you said it perfectly. The right question. First of all, the right question, I don't think it has to do with my question, your question, somebody else's question. Questions has to deal with the core of the person. If the person like has certain kind of need to feel significant, or to feel like they're growing, or to feel like they're contributing, their question and their decision will be based on what's most important in terms of their need. And I don't think it's more the question. I would say more, how can you be a better person? Because when I was young, and I still believe it today, I think it's all about being the best at what you're doing. It's not really what you're doing, but how you're doing it.
Okay.
How can you do it to the next level? How can you become a better person? How can you build a better foundation of a person? How can you build something more beautiful on top of that foundation? I think it's more towards the person you become than what kind of job you're going to be doing.
Something that really highlighted from what you just said in terms of how can we get better? How can we improve? How can we do things differently? And something that a lot of people struggle with, and I'm sure you've had this both in conversations and experiences, because you've been there. With the mindset of the champion, you've probably lived everything. What I'm getting to as a question is like, when we try to do better, we often have this feeling of friction, people surrounding us, our friends, our family. And when we try to elevate ourselves, it feels as if we have to apologize for wanting to be great. We have to apologize for wanting better for ourselves. How do we wrestle with that? Because a lot of people are afraid to change. A lot of people are afraid to want better, as if they should. Always want, the naysayers will always come around and telling you, why are you doing this? Why should you do this? And trying to question, your goals and question your dreams. How do we help people go beyond that fear, JP?
I think this has to do with the kind of person you become along the way, with all the effort, all the days that you've been the extra mile. You're building some kind of something around you that makes you get better, or you're building some kind of muscle in your mind that gets you go further than this thinking. I think it's not about the people around you. It's not about being apologized to say, you know what, I'm getting better. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. For me, it's like every single day, it's like, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting one step closer, because today I'll run again the extra mile, because today I decide that my goal that I see in front of me, because I always have my goals in front of me. I have it on my board. I have it in my agenda. I have it at home. I have it everywhere, because I want to make it clear. And I don't want to have like 15 goals. I want to have goals, simple goals in front of me, and this is it. It's going to happen, and I'm getting closer every single day, no matter what.
So it's relentless effort and commitment. That's the formula.
I think it is.
In those moments, because I'm very big about people with limiting beliefs and people who unfortunately are frozen by the fear. I use that word a lot, is because a lot of the conversations that I get either over DMs or everything, a lot of people tell me, yeah, but I don't know what I want to do. But what if this doesn't work out? And a lot of people often, I think, what if it does work out? What if you write that great book? What if you, again, get that insane job? What if you get that great opportunity to make that great sale? Why are people so afraid of success?
I think it's not so much about being afraid of success or not. I think people stay too much time in their mind and not enough time in action.
Okay.
Because when people are too much in their mind, thinking about this, thinking about that, of course they're not going to do it. Of course they're going to be scared. The more you focus on something, the more it's going to get bigger. And most probably your mind is going to get attracted by the challenges, the obstacles, the problems, everything. And if it gets bigger, well, it's a bit like you look into a mountain in front of you, but now you go deeper, closer, and you look all the obstacles. Then it's not a small mountain. It's going to be Everest. Of course, you're not going to start. You're not going to do it. You're not going to finish. But if take action right away, and then you'll go step by step towards doing it. Because when you stay too much time in your head, of course, you're not going to take action. You're going to be facing fear to the next level.
So just by staying inside of your head, you're making the problem exponentially bigger.
Definitely.
So we have to take action.
Action. The more, I mean, if you go back in times, the human species were going out, trying to get some food, coming back, always in movement, always progressing, always in action, not so much time in their mind, not so much time in their head. Shouldn't be so different because we're made a certain way, but with all like technology, phone, knowledge, everything we have, like it's so easy that we get trapped into this problem of getting more information, getting better, doing this, doing that. But finally, what are you really doing? How efficient are you? And people that are working, for example, 9 to 5, I bet if they calculate, like click every time you start doing something, and when your mind is switching to something else, click back. Because you're not working, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, or you're not doing or advancing towards your project. And I'm pretty sure you're not going to be working more than 3-4 hours a day.
I had a question just as you were talking about your whiteboard and your goals. Could you give us some practical tips on how to actually use an efficient one? Not just write stuff down, but how do you go about, setting your goals and visualizing them and acting on them? Because a lot of people just want to say, yeah, I've got goals, I've got dreams, but from what I'm hearing from you, there's a method to that. You actually have to write it down and look at them. What's your process?
Well, first of all, I want to have a place where I'm going to be able to see it. Mm-hmm. For me, it's paper agenda. And it's a board in my office, and I have some reminders at home. Mm-hmm. But it's mainly in the office that it takes place. And I want to make it so clear and so action-driven, so simple to take these daily action that I'll get to those goals. Because the thing is, we overestimate what we're going to do in a day, mm-hmm. a week, 3 weeks, 3 months, but we underestimate what we can do in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years. Because the truth is, when we put so much stuff in a day, we get discouraged, and then afterwards, you're doing 25 to 50% what you decided to do the first day. But the truth is, if you put some simple action every single day, so my goals are action-driven. My goals are based on action, based on what I'll do, not just the end goal, not just, for example, runners. If they're going to run, for example, 200 kilometers in a year or in a week, it all depends at what level they're at, but they have to go progressive, and it has to be fun, simple, and they have to gamify it.
Fun, simple, gamify. So we have to actually enjoy the process. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but we have to be able to enjoy it.
I think when people say, do the extra mile, work 110%, it has to come with this. So many people, when they want to try to shift, they're trying to shift 150% or 200% in a day. I'm sorry, but your body was like this for the past a year or a month or whatever. You're not going to switch just like this because you didn't do what you're supposed to do for the past month or years. Afterwards, you're going to switch like 2 millimeter shift or little action after little action, but progressively you're going to get to your goal. So my goals are simple and progressive.
And fun.
And fun, but the big goal is big, but it starts by little stuff. daily.
Little actions compounded over time. I want to piggyback on that and ask you, you're a champion. You've been doing this for years on end. You have a successful business, successful legacy, and that you're still putting the building blocks towards a tremendous achievements going forward. But I want to talk about, again, with success, there has to be a lot of, sacrifice, has to be a lot of patience. And a lot of people are also going back to that. It's like a lot of people are afraid of the work they have to put in. You can't have success, the formula of a champion, without the hard work. I'd like you to just like walk on through what was the struggle like for you over time, over the years, because it probably wasn't always easy. I can imagine.
Life is not so blue, pink, yellow, whatever. Life is about doing your very best, and if you're working 110%, I'm telling you, this extra 10% is gonna be worth it. But I'm telling you, you're gonna work your ass off to get it done, because there's so many people that want to get to this juice, want to get to this goal, but they just don't get the extra mile. They just don't get the 110%. And it wasn't so easy for me. When I started, I was in my parents' basement.
Oh wow!
I was in my bedroom, starting in real estate, 21 years old. And you can bet I had no friends that was looking to buy at that time or sell, because they didn't have the money. They were studying or they were just starting to work. So I had no choice. If I was going to succeed in that business, I needed to make some calls, door knock, try to find ways, because I had no money to invest. I can tell you, I was probably between $5,000 and $15,000 in debt at that time.
At 21.
At 21 years old, because when you finish real estate school, there's money that you have to pay first, and then you have to pay every single month fees, plus when you do transactions. So you're already like paying, but no money's coming in, because you're getting paid when you go to the notary, which is normally 2-3 months after a transaction. But when you start, well, for example, when I started, I didn't do a transaction the next month. It took me time. Took me time to adapt. Took me time to hustle.
Wow.
And at one point, it was so hard, because every single day I was telling myself, you know what? I think it's over for me. I'm doing something else. And then I said, you know what? Let's start another day. Let's do another time. I was going back up, back down from the house, going to sleep, taking some food, sleeping, because I was tired to have people telling me no. Truth is, they were not saying really no to me. They were saying no to either realtor, or they were saying no to the fact that they don't want to buy or sell. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And when people say it's a numbers game, it is a numbers game. Yes, you need to learn skills, and you need to give yourself time to learn skills, because in a lot of work, could be plumbers, electrician, or even other people, when they finish, they have to follow a certain number of hours then to get to the next level, because they're not qualified day one. And I don't think you get qualified day one in anything anyways.
Of course.
Same thing for me. So you have to understand that it takes time to get there. And for me, it was struggle day after day after day. And when I started to say at one point I said, it either break, or I'm going to go through it, or I'm going to do something else. And I started to do 50 contacts every single day, paying 2 coach of $1,000 each month. So $2,000 each month, plus Remax another 1,000, plus other fees. I mean, I had no money. You can say I was either stupid or I don't know what I was doing. At that time, it was just the time to say, is it going to go through or not? But I will do whatever it takes. I was doing 50 contacts a day. until I was going to do it. And that was the time it started.
Make or break. So that speaks a lot about what people have a really hard time understanding, that whatever you pursue, whatever is your goal, whatever is your own definition of success, it will ask another level of commitment from you. That's what I heard. And I'm so humbled by that story. It's an amazing thing to see how you come out at the other end as a champion and as an example that, you know what, patience and hard committed work will take you farther than you think. And I'd like you to speak on that in terms of, you know, when people tell you, oh, you know, I had a bad day, or, you know, life is hard, or, you know, how am I ever going to get through this? From what I'm hearing from you is that, you know what, let's focus on today.
Absolutely. What are you going to do today that's going to make a difference? And you said it perfectly. It's all about having a different level of commitment, because commitment is so important. And when you decide that you'll do whatever it takes, and when I say whatever it takes, it's like you'll find a way no matter what. That's it. And a question. It's not like there's option. It's not like, okay, I've done 25, it's over. Okay, I've done 50 today, it's over. No. You're going to do 50 every day until you do it and until you get what you want.
What I admire right now, because from everything that you've built and this terrific evolution that you've seen right now, from living in your parents' basement to the JP of today. And from what I'm hearing the same excitement. I'm hearing the same curiosity. I'm hearing the same drive, because I'm hearing you're hungry and your goals, again, are extraordinary. How do you keep yourself motivated? Do you ever, because a lot of people say, well, you know what, I've done it. I'm enough. That's okay. Let me just chill. But that's not what I'm hearing from you, JP. What gives you the drive to keep going another day? Is it just, again, the goals? Is it just you always want more? Is there ever enough, JP?
Well, first of all, when you tell yourself it's enough, it means you're talking about your past. How can I be a better person, a better version of myself? Because today is based on my mindset. Today and tomorrow is based on the person I am today and how I will build it to the next level. How can I get stronger? When I was younger, if I go back like 10 years back, I didn't have the same confidence, the same mindset, this as solid as I am today. And my goal is to get even more solid in 5 years, 10 years. And I had steel in mind. And I said, you know what? If my mind can be so fucking strong as a steel, then I'll get to my goal. But the truth is, there's always another steel that can get, another one that can get even harder, even better. So with time that goes on, if I go back 10 years and I go today and I go in 10 years, today my goal is how can I get a better version? How can I get to the next level quicker, faster, and help people around me and influence people around? It's with the person I became by getting to those goals, even though sometimes it's not easy. Even today, I get bigger goals, bigger dreams, bigger achievements, bigger financial problem I can get. But truth is, if you work on yourself on a daily basis with your mindset, moving your body, looking forward, having your goals on the board, looking on the big picture, not just on little details, looking where you're going and fighting for it, you're going to get it.
No question. As long as we keep very clear mindset, simple goals, and keep speaking the right words and the right intentions and putting in the work, that's how we get there. I don't want to keep too long. I've got maybe one or two final questions. In terms of being an overperformer, like a champion the same way as you are, I keep using that word a lot because you are, with all your accolades and your successes. But it's also important to, from what I believe, to also have the time to rest and to disconnect and to I had this conversation with Vincent in a past conversation, Vincent Guta, and he told me that it's also important to actually to be able to reset yourself. Does that happen for you, JP, or do you have those practices where you take a time to actually, focus on you and take a time to rest? How important is that for you?
Yeah, I think there's time for everything. There's time for hard work, and there's time for a cutoff. And when I said you need to work the extra mile, you need to work 110%, I truly believe it, and I'm doing it every day. That's my goal, actually. My goal every day when I go up is how will I reach the next level today? It's not just the money-wise, just all those stuff and all the other things is, am I doing right now something that will get me to the next level where I want to get? Am I doing something right now that I'm doing the extra mile? Am I pushing to the true JP right now? And that's more like the core value I have inside me. But I mean, at some point, you get tired. It's normal. So you need some time every single day for yourself. I used to do a lot, the 3 times 3-minute meditation in a day. It doesn't have to be long, and you have to focus on positive stuff. I'm doing every day 15 to 45 minutes of motivation, reading books, YouTube videos, pushing my mind. When I go in the car to go drive to work, it's going to be motivation too. When I drive work to another client, it's going to be motivation. It won't be music. Come in my car and try to hear music. You might only hear it in Sunday, not all the other day. So you have to use those moments to feed your mind so that you can push more time to 110%, and then you need to put some cutoff in your time, because I'm taking between 8 to 10 weeks of vacation in a year.
Oh, wow.
I'm achieving much more than I was doing before I was doing this.
Compare that to everybody else who's, again, working the 9 to 5 and have maybe 1 week vacation, depending on your seniority. Obviously, 1 week, 2 weeks, the legal 2 weeks, or a couple of days off, legal holidays and stuff. But you, as an overachiever, somebody who's really going at the grind every single day, as you put it, you're clearly, having some set, moments for hard work and some moments to rest, and you're showing the importance of doing that. That's cool. See? This really is stuff that, people need to take into consideration. A lot of people saying it's not, yes, you go hard. Yes, you work hard, but you also need to rest. And that doesn't mean you need to wear yourself out, because I understand that, you do get tired, and that's a very important message people need to hear. You need to take time for yourself. You said every single day. Doesn't need to be a full hour, go get a massage or whatever works for you. But what I heard is little pockets of meditation, reading, just unplug and focus your mind, because the mind is a muscle. We need to exercise those habits. That's amazing. That's amazing. I know we're coming up on top of the recording, but first of all, JP, I want to close it off first of all by saying thank you for your time, because that's the greatest gift anyone can give, which is your time. I know you're a very busy guy, so thank you so much for saying yes to this invitation. It was a privilege, as always, to connect with you and to get to learn so much more about the individual and the successful entrepreneur and the business leader, champion, and example. So for that, thank you so much for everything that you share. But leading off, just running tradition on the podcast, we always like to ask the guests to leave us either with a quote, a call to action, a habit, anything that people can use waking up tomorrow to try and make that next step towards the next level. What can we leave them with?
There's so many things I can leave with. I would say, first of all, thank you very much for having me in this podcast. I know it's getting late, but for me, it's how can you go to the extra mile to be the best version of yourself? And remember, because I said action is so important. When Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So remember to take action tomorrow. Remember to take action with heart and hard work, dedication, and commitment to the next level, because you can achieve more.
Wow. JP Loiselle, thank you so much. Guys, Jean-Philippe Loiselle, real estate champion. Look for him on equipeloiselle.com. Definitely I'll have all the links available on the podcast, on the blog post as soon as this episode goes live. JP, where can people mostly connect with you on the interwebs? Instagram, your website? How can we reach you?
Website, Instagram, Facebook as well, LinkedIn, I mean, mostly everywhere. So if you want to reach me, you're going to find me.
Not a problem. Guys, this has been another episode of the Awaken the Awesome podcast with my guest, Jean-Philippe Loiselle. Guys, as always, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much. If you find any values into these recordings, please do share. Leave us a like, leave us a comment. It's always appreciated to show support. With every other recording, we always try to build better and newer and better content for you. Stay elevated, stay safe, stay resilient, stay loved, stay blessed. And as always, do stay awesome.
This has been another episode of the Awaken the Awesome podcast. We do love to get your feedback, so please drop us a line. Our email address, awakentheawesome@gmail.com. Also, if you haven't already, please hop on over to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, give us a rating, and leave us a review. We always do appreciate your support, and thank you for listening. Stay awesome.